when you're in law school, you really don't know what direction your legal career is going to take. And when I was at Cornell Law School, I thought that I was going to have a career in trusts and estates and things of that kind, writing wills. And in over 60 years as a lawyer, do you know how many wills I have written?
How many?
One. Upon my graduation from Cornell Law School, the Korean War had started, so I went back in the Navy and was assigned to the USS St. Paul. The St. Paul came in to Sasebo, Japan for a few days, and we received a all-ships message to send somebody ashore to defend two sailors who were accused of murdering a rickshaw driver. Had never tried any case at all, and now I have the responsibility of defending these two sailors in a murder case. And there's no question that they had been in an altercation with the rickshaw driver. The clues were very, very interesting. The story about the proof is fascinating, and one of the interesting aspects of it was the Japanese witnesses and my total inability to cross-examine. Let's say a simple question like, well, what did he say? And then there would be a conversation in Japanese between the interpreter and the witness, which might go on for 3 or 4 minutes. And finally, the interpreter would turn to the court and to me and say, he really didn't say anything. And that would be his answer. To make a long story short, I was successful in getting them off on the murder charge, and they were convicted of manslaughter first degree. When I first started practicing law, the lawyers were much more collegial. It was a smaller group. You trusted each other. A handshake, if you settled a case, you did it with a handshake, and no one ever questioned it. Within 10 years of entering the office, Hancock, I sort of started what I call my meteoric political career, like a meteor, in that sort of a very bright light, and then all goes dark. And but I had a wonderful time. I thought that I detected a groundswell for me to run, to regain the congressional seat, which had been lost in the 1964 landslide election. And what happens often with aspiring candidates, what they may perceive to be groundswells turn out only to be ripples. And so it was in my case. In 1971, the then Republican chairman called and said, you know, Judge Vanette had died, Supreme Court Justice, and so there's a vacancy. And I've been talking with many people, and we want to submit your name to Governor Nelson Rockefeller to appoint you in his place. And I said, I've never thought about being a judge. I'd sort of checked to see if I did this as a Supreme Court Justice, whether I might go to the appellate division and make a career as an appellate judge. And so you're never guaranteed about that, but I thought the chances looked pretty good. So I did it and loved it. It turned out to be exactly the right thing for me to do. And I say facetiously that I retired under a rule known as the rule of statutory senility. By statute, on the 31st day of December of the year in which the judge, he or she, turns 70, the last stroke of midnight, perhaps having consumed a martini or two, who knows. On that last stroke, that judge is by statute senile, which means that the judge, that ex-judge, can no longer be a judge, but that does not stop the judge from going back and being a lawyer again. I think one of the most difficult cases that I had was after I got off the bench, and this was representing the New York State Senate in a lawsuit brought by the governor against the Senate, Governor Pataki against the Senate and the Assembly. And so this had to do with the power of the governor in the budget, being his power to revise the budget which is submitted by the legislature. No question, there's been a tremendous change, and I think it's for the best. I remember my father saying that he hired the first woman ever to be hired in a law firm in Syracuse, and that was considered a rarity. And of course that would have been just one woman, and that might have been, oh, good heavens, 70, 80 years ago. I think we've reached the point where you don't ask a question at all. You just assume that the woman in the position is just as good as any man in the position. You expect them to do just as well, and they do. I don't know. It's no longer a big deal. I tell them about my own career, try to give them the upbeat, positive outlook. The career that I've had has been right for me, and I'm still doing it and enjoying it. Opportunities will come your way, and you may say, can I do this? Am I up to this? Should I do it? And rightly or wrongly, rightly in my case, but I've always said, oh well, let's go for it.